You want to die?
If me dying could stop this, if it could make things different for us, for you, for all those other kids, it'd be worth it.
Hey everybody, this is going to be my Walking Dead mid-season finale video. Just careful for spoilers if you haven't seen it yet. Obviously, because it's supposed to be such a big episode, they either blew up a bunch of people or implied that a bunch of people were getting ready to die by the time we come back for episode 9. So we'll address all the Carl stuff at the end of the episode, because even Talking Dead was convinced of his fate, but I think that this is the new version of the Glenn dumpster, a much better version. If you're just finding me for the first time, be sure to subscribe to get everything. There's going to be a whole bunch of hardcore comic book stuff happening before the end of the year between this, Star Wars, and all the DC TV stuff. And there is a new round of the giveaway I'll explain at the end of the video. So let's just go through top 10 WTF and comic book Easter eggs. There were a couple big foreshadowing Easter eggs for a couple particular characters. Number 10, the Carl flashbacks at the beginning of the episode. They did that thing where they jump backwards and forwards in time, but all of Carl's speeches were taken from that scene in the first episode where Rick wanted to bail on the person that Carl was trying to help, which turned out to be Siddiq from the comics. So what Carl's basically telling him is that there has to be some sort of compromise. They can't just go on killing all the saviors because things will wind up being just as bad even if they're able to get rid of Negan. So remember the flash forwards to old Rick in that episode where he said, "My mercy prevails over my wrath." The whole idea is that they will have to find a compromise with the saviors, but the events of the episode, just like how crazy the saviors were rubbing everyone's faces in it, they really want you to believe like that's going to be impossible. Like it's either them or the saviors. Just the way that Negan's going on and on about what he's going to do to everyone. Even Simon rubbing Maggie's face and everything. But number 9, Aaron and Enid's side trip. They sort of left them hanging, so obviously they'll have to resolve that when we come back in episode 9. But I do like the reminder that Enid is actually one of the more clever survivors, because even before this season, before she met Carl, she had survived on her own for a while, because that piece of paper that he was staring at was Enid's signature phrase, "just survive somehow." So just remember that note, just survive somehow. Carl was staring at that. So the entire episode, he's thinking about that, just survive, even when he's talking to Negan trying to distract him by offering himself. But the big twist with Aaron and Enid's storyline was great. The way they accidentally kill Cindy's grandmother, making you think that there's no way that Oceanside's going to help them. This was all part of this steady nosedive that they wanted the survivors to take in the early part of the episode. Like Negan rolls up. Number 8, Negan surprises everyone in the middle of the night, and it turns out all their lookouts are gone. They have all these saviors that have rolled up on the kingdom and the safe zone at the same time. So when he starts yelling at them on the megaphone, "You've already lost, just give up now." They really want you to believe like that's what's happened. Because now we might not get any help from Oceanside. They don't have the numbers, and they have this large mobilized force of saviors that's ready to go, and they're totally unprepared, with a few minor exceptions. If you've been watching TV for a long time though, you always know it's darkest before the dawn. Like they really want to make it seem like it's unwinnable, so that when Rick and the survivors eventually rally, the victory is that much sweeter because things got so bad for them. But number 7, Maggie's roadblock. Remember the last time there was a roadblock that she rolled up on? That was the same night that Negan killed Glenn, so she is triggered. And Simon just lays into her. He basically gives her the same business that everybody else is getting at the kingdom and at the safe zone, just telling them they're not even indentured servants anymore. They're full-blown slaves. You're gonna do what we want, when we want, and we're taking all of your nice cushy homes. Number 6, though, Carl's storyline was probably one of the better ones in the episode. He was one of the few people that actually knew what he was doing. Like, each step along the way was carefully planned, so Sheriff Carl was on his game this week. So he's just running the saviors around in circles in the safe zone with those smoke bombs. Enough time for everybody to get down into the sewers. That's really the whole point. That was why he offered himself up to Negan. Although when you really listen to him and you look at his face, he actually looks like he's ready to die. Like he's being honest when he's talking to Negan, even though he probably really doesn't want to die. He's still thinking about that note, just survive somehow. But I love the look on Negan's face when Carl offers him up. He's like Leonardo DiCaprio in Django Unchained. You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention. But of course, Carl's just leading him on. He gets really pissed off and starts blowing up the safe zone. So number 5, RIP safe zone. Now, Negan basically told all the saviors there to blow up every other building. So even if they're able to defeat Negan ultimately, I think what they're telling you is that the safe zone as a place where people live is over. They're probably going to have to go to the kingdom now, and because so many people will die in the next couple of episodes, it'll free up some house space. So I think that's how they're going to explain the groups combining. So side note, during one of the ad breaks in the middle of the episode, the Claimer showed back up. He said, "Claim," grabbed the hatchet right out of that walker. It was totally surprising, but the other thing too is that there was an ad break every 10 minutes in this episode for an hour and a half. So I hope AMC made all the money they need to make, because they are burning the fans hardcore. But I think this has been a common complaint of The Walking Dead for many years now. Just the fact that they stuff so many extra ad breaks into their programs, because Walking Dead is one of the few shows that they have that actually earns a profit. But number 4, Eugene tries to undouchify himself somewhat successfully, but we all still want him to die. So he allows Gabriel and the doctor to get away so that the doctor can deliver Maggie's baby. But the whole reason he doesn't go with them is because he doesn't think that they'll take him back. He believes he's beyond redemption, and he's still a bit of a coward. Like, he's afraid to chance it. He's like, oh, maybe if I go back, they'll kill me on the spot. And I'm still blown away that on the other side of that coin, they haven't killed Gregory yet. He was still a total douche in the episode to Maggie. It was kind of a funny moment too. Oh, how come you're letting this guy out? Then she promptly kills him. I think the idea is that they want you to cheer when Gregory eventually gets killed, but Eugene they want you to feel a little more choked up about, because there was a time when he actually wasn't quite so bad. But number 3, Ezekiel sacrifices himself to the saviors to allow his people to get out. They want it to feel like his soul has been saved. That's why he thanks Carol. "Thank you for saving me," literally saving him from death, but also saving his soul in a way. So the big comic book Easter egg is from when the saviors say that they're going to hang him on the fence. So I don't want to get more specific than that, but if you want to, you can read ahead and find out what happens with Ezekiel eventually. They even did the same thing in an earlier episode when they killed off Shiva. In the episode, they talk about something that will eventually happen to Ezekiel. That was more foreshadowing for his comic book arc. So we'll see if they follow through on that. But number 2 was Rick versus Negan. The fight didn't last as long as I expected it to, but I think that they're dragging this out to the second half of the season. And obviously, I think that all of the back half is going to be part 2 of All Out War, so it's just going to go on with Negan. It's not like they're going to defeat him in episode 9, and that's going to be the end of it. It was pretty cool to see him rip Lucille out of Negan's hands, but obviously I don't think that anybody expected Negan to die in this episode, so it was a pretty badass escape just jumping right out that window. But how many of you, when Rick first came to the safe zone and ran right into his house, were just waiting for Negan to step around the corner? It was so quiet too. And earlier in the episode, he had been like, "I'm going to go to Rick's house and make some spaghetti," just waiting for him to show up. But they make it down into the sewer. Michonne was so great. She goes into that berserker rage. But the number 1 WTF, obviously, is the fact that Carl has been bitten. And if you take them very literally by the look on Rick and Michonne's face, they think that Carl's going to die from that bite eventually. So it's just a question of when. Are they going to say goodbye? Is he going to die slowly? Are they going to put him out of his misery? But because every season, everyone's always been wondering about Carl, there was a contract renewal that came up for Chandler Riggs a while ago, so there was talk of him leaving the show and going to college for a couple years. Like, he actually wanted to go get a college degree. So everyone's like, how are they going to handle that? Will there be a time jump? What it sounds like they might do is that this is, like I said, the version of the Glenn dumpster that isn't quite so egregious as the Glenn dumpster. They just want to make you wonder whether or not he's going to die during the break. And they'll find a way to transition him to a lesser role on the show if he does end up dying when we come back in episode 9. Let me know, what was your takeaway from that scene, especially given him staring at that Enid phrase, "just survive somehow," in taking into account the way they handle the actor in real life, like him just going off to college and then coming back to the show every once in a while. But congratulations to the latest IMAX ticket giveaway winner, Swerve Animations. Please private message me so I can get your contact details. There'll be a new round when I post my episode 9 trailer video tomorrow. So while you wait for that, click here for my new Titan Season 1 Arrowverse video, and you can click here for brand new Star Wars The Last Jedi. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.